Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Neighborhood with your hosts, Tim Johnson and Stacy Borho. Together, they are finding out what makes the heart of the Heartland beat. They sit down with people in your community that lead organizations, businesses, and government. You'll learn who they are and what they're involved in and why. They are the people in your neighborhood. It's In the Neighborhood with Stacy Borho and Tim Johnson.
Hi, Stacy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Tim?
Doing well.
Can you believe it's December?
It's been a year that we have been in this studio.
A year?
1 year.
Wow.
Yep.
Time flies when you're having fun.
And we've been doing this, for the second half for a little over 3 years. And we started in 2011, so we've been doing this quite a while.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Hey, you're alive. There we go. We are in the neighborhood, and again, the design of the program is that it's like a friend was in the neighborhood, happened to come in, we're sitting down at the table and have a discussion. And today we have a new friend, Pamela Rumba.
Rumba, like
All
the
right.
dance.
From Commonplace.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. And I feel in the neighborhood. I've been in this neighborhood for, I'm not going to say how long, but my whole life, pretty much. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I'm glad to be here with you all.
So tell us what Commonplace is.
Commonplace is a fantastic place that serves adults and young people and has been doing so since 1967. It was started on the south side back in the day by a gentleman who attended the church that we're now located in. So there was a major transition. But prior to 67, this gentleman, Dick Tunks, had a wonderful idea, and that was as he looked at the folks around in the academia, in the neighborhood who were non-academic, he felt that they were all struggling with poverty because they really needed the academic support, and especially that they needed to learn to read. So Commonplace has been the heart for reading and learning to read and improving your academics and obtaining your GED for adults since that time, really. To come in there, step into it 2 years ago as I did, I was really glad I was a Peoria girl because I knew folks who had attended there, and I had been blessed with the opportunity to meet Dick Tunks like in 1982. And truly, he kind of reminded, the day I met him, in all fairness, he reminded me of Jesus. He had really long hair. He was working construction kind of thing, planing like a carpenter. And he really didn't say, he was very gracious and said, "Good morning, everything. I'm fixing this door." And at that time, they had a neighborhood program which helped to bring people in contact with Commonplace. And he was there doing that. And the following year, he passed away, and so I always felt blessed I got to know this guy that really had, picked this agency up and really started with one, how you hear if someone has one good idea and they follow that idea, there will be, fruit. This was like that. He really has done an amazing, his idea over the years has just served so many people so well. So that's really the heart of the ministry there. It's literacy, it's reaching out to folks. There isn't a fee ever for anything that we do, but we do so much more than that now. But that's the heart of it.
Where are you located?
We're at 514 South Shelley, which is on the south side. We are at the heart of 61605. We are in a church that was built in 1916, and at the time of the founding of Commonplace, it was turned over to Dick Tunks for $1. The church was moving to another location that was out north, and the congregation no longer needed the building. So they were given for $1 a 3-story brick building. The sanctuary is now our meeting room for large classes, complete with a stage and a choir loft. The pantry, major pantry storage is on the 3rd story, which makes no sense. But that's the biggest room that is available for storing canned goods and things like that. And that serves the emergency need in the neighborhood and also a food pantry that we have every week. We serve many needs of folks in addition to the fact that they need to learn to read. But the pantry serves about 200 people a month. and that relates to 4 or 5 people in the family at home that are eating nutritional food because we provide that. So it's pretty awesome. Hungry people don't learn well, and so
Yeah.
we kind of try to fill other needs other than just the reading aspect.
Wow. So I bet that it takes a lot of volunteers to run Commonplace.
Oh, we couldn't do it without volunteers. Volunteers are our lifeblood. In the morning, when we open the building, our folks, usually the folks who are attending, either arrive by bus or they're walking in. We are that kind of centrally located place. Our volunteers, though, come from all over central Illinois, and they are the most faithful group I have ever met. They take care of each other. If a flu bug hits, like today we were short a few people, I think I told Tim on the phone. But people going, oh, I'll step up. And someone who doesn't come all the time is there for a sub. And all of the teachers roll in and they take their classes. Class sizes range from 1 or 2 to 20. And so it just depends on what stage you're in your learning. Some of the folks come to us and they may have had careers, been machinists or something like that. They know their trade and they've retired. And then you say, but how did you do all this? When you test them and they're reading at a 2nd or 3rd grade level, and you say, they say, we watched the bulletin boards. And they have other little clues that have helped them to, work all these years, serve their families. We have amazing clients. I sort of am telling the story of one who is with us now, started in May, and his goal is to read Christmas stories to his great-grands when they come up from Mississippi for Christmas. And he has picked out certain books that he wanted to learn and has gone from reading at a 2nd or 3rd grade level to reading at a 6th or 7th grade level, which is unbelievable. And he's the one that says, I used to watch all of the people I worked with, and I would watch their faces. And when they were concerned, I would sort of go find a friend and say, what does that bulletin board, what are you looking at? What's the problem on the bulletin board? Or something like that. And then the friend would say, but they had no idea that he could not read. Not read well enough to be sure that he's, could do things. It affects everything when you can't read. You don't feel welcome. You feel always like there might be something in a group, and there's an insecurity that comes with it. You feel as if there is something that group knows that you don't know. And so I think these people are tremendously brave. I think they are tremendously wise in many ways. I think they see things sometimes that the rest of us who do read don't see. But I really love it when they succeed and meet their goals. And the whole place, you talk about our volunteers just go crazy when someone succeeds at their goal or when they succeed in getting their GED. I mean, we celebrate that like it is you just got your master's or something. We just really I think sometimes it's so much more difficult to get that GED just because of where they have to start from. So we're proud of everybody. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Sounds like you have quite the family down there.
We do. We have, you asked about the volunteers. I think they number about 146 volunteers all told. And then there are 126 current adults that are in the program learning. Not all of them come to Commonplace. Some of them are meeting possibly up the hill at Starbucks, or they're meeting at the Lincoln Branch Library. That's a popular place. But they are getting the same services from their tutor. That just might be a more convenient place, or they might be afraid of crowds, and so if they're just in a quiet little place, they might be better off there. But we make sure that everybody feels part of Commonplace. We have dinners and banquets and special events and things like that, so that our folks aren't just reading with us. They might be learning nutritional skills, learning how to shop, learning how to cook with us. They might be doing some other things. Some of our ladies have benefited from a group of men who volunteer to change oil and do the kinds of things that I do not know how to do. There are probably women who do, but I don't, and a lot of these ladies don't either. So if they do have a car, upkeep is expensive, and so this group tries to help every little way they can. So that's another benefit.
That's so sweet.
I think so too.
So you guys are keeping food on the third floor, is that what I heard you say?
We have an
And
elevator.
canned goods.
We have an emergency pantry that is on the first floor.
Okay.
But storage-wise, when we look at, you remember this was built in 1916,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Which I'm
when
just
we
thinking stairwell being even more
Oh,
rickety.
well, there, if you
Narrow.
use, we would, very true. The stairwell, one of the stairwells is extremely narrow and we avoid it. But you can, when you see that part of the hallway, you can just picture ladies in longer dresses and, more petite going up for choir. I mean, the building has some pictures that go back in time like that. So it is fun to see what we used to look like and what we are like now. But the third floor elevator, that's a very important thing. We have folks that work with us from Midwest Food Bank and from Illinois Harvest, and folks that are community churches that will have canned good drives and things like that. So storing that and having it accessible is really important. So we use the third floor for the things that we think are going to be here for a while. And then there is a first floor access. We're not totally crazy. There's a first floor access for the emergency pantry and for the weekly pantry. And so not everything goes upstairs. So,
What kind of things are you needing for your pantry right now?
oh, thank you for asking. That's good. All year round, we need canned protein meat, like tuna and chicken and things like that. We
Okay.
always need vegetables that are canned, but we've been blessed with refrigerators and freezers. So the pantry is able to do a lot more in the way of nutritional food, not always canned things that may have salt. So we accept frozen meats. We accept fresh produce all year round, and some folks will just go shop on our behalf on a weekly basis and come in and bring the fresh things that we would in the winter when it's like this.
Sure.
Otherwise, we benefit from Grace's Table Ministries and Grow, who are actually located in Edwards, and they bring in food for us. The produce is fantastic, and there is never a lettuce leaf left. The folks that come to pantry are grateful for all the frozen meat and the canned items and all of that, but we have a big table of produce, and it has been our goal because we have so many folks with health needs, diabetes and other things, and they really need fresh fruit and fresh vegetables, and so we have 2 tables of both, and that's a lot. So
That's
yes.
a beautiful thing.
So when I was growing up, I was a few years behind reading of my classmates. So it affected me quite a bit. So reading gives confidence.
It does.
Especially
It
if,
does.
you're reading in front of people. Today I still have problems reading in front of people just because of being a kid. Through
Because
all
you
of that.
remember those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing, is folks have gone through things, they carry that with them. So really, when they come in our door, we do everything possible to make them feel like they are a hero the minute they walk in the door. Because truthfully, walking in the door and asking for help, you are like 90% there.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Asking for help, receiving it, that is tough. So,
So I bet you can see a difference in people when they learn to read.
oh, we do, we
Yeah.
do. We have a gentleman that really came to us, I think, 3 years ago, and he has gone through the program. He has gotten his GED. In his case, there is an expungement that's needed for a past, and I might say very silly, felony that is one that you think, really? So he is my poster child for someone who really, really has a heart for work, has wanted to get a job. The reading held him back, the GE, not having your high school diploma held him back, and this particular thing took place way back in the day, and now he is a gentleman nearing 50. He will receive this expungement. He will be able to apply for work with that GED. I've been there 2 years, and I have seen that transformation in this particular person in 2 years. It is remarkable. I just gave him a hug this morning as I'm coming. He's grown so much, and his confidence, and he shows up all the time as a volunteer. He is gracious and encouraging to the other people who are coming in the door brand new, or if they're continuing on, he's like, you go for it. He's just really become this awesome, involved, community interested person, and we had a graduation of a group not too long ago, and he stood up to give the invocation, and I told a pastor who was present that he had some competition going along because this gentleman, he was super articulate, he was just fantastic. So yes, it's a transformation. His main tutor often just looks at him with tears in her eyes and says, I remember when, and I see now, and it is the most remarkable thing. And that's the thing for our volunteers. I think the reason they continue to volunteer the way they do, whether they're in the youth program or whether they're in the adult program, because we have both, they see this transformation, and it's priceless. There is no paycheck that equals that. So it's
If
life-changing.
you ever wanted a reason to volunteer, making a difference in somebody's life is probably one of the biggest.
It is.
Yeah.
And you see the one person, but there's always a trickle down. If you affect the life of one adult, then you're also affecting their children. You're affecting their health and the health of the children, because mom now or dad is now comfortable to ask questions of the doctor because they can read what the diagnosis is. They can read or almost read what the prescription. I can't. How do you pronounce that medication? But they know what it's for.
Right.
And they know that they're being treated. They can read how many times they're supposed to take that. We have adults by day in this program, but when school lets out, we have kids, lots of them. Right now, we are serving 82 kids in an after-school program that starts at 2:45 and 3:45 and ends at 6. We serve a hot meal every day, a dinner that we would all love to enjoy, and fresh snacks like strawberries and cheese and things like that after school. So those kids come in, but then either they learn about us through a parent who may be in the day program, or the parents who bring the kids, or grandparents who bring the kids after school, or pick them up rather, because most of them walk in. Those parents are people we reach out to for the adult program. So one program really programs feed each other in terms of bringing people to us. So it's wonderful.
You had a topic you wanted to cover. We have 2 minutes left.
Oh my goodness! Well, you
so much fun to talk to.
cannot learn without feeling fed, and you cannot learn if you're cold. And last year, one of our furnaces died, so we cannibalized it, and we made the other one work. But both of them are ancient. I mean ancient. I think they are, I want to say 40 years old, and that they're way beyond their shelf life. So we have a program that we are running right now, calling Turn Up the Heat on Literacy, and we mean it intentionally. I mean, it is true. Last year we had the kids bring sweatshirts and leave them there, wear their coats. I have pictures of my kindergarten and first grade classes last year wearing their coats, having their mittens on, and holding books. And I didn't set it up. It was the real deal. We had days we couldn't count on the furnace. Well, we don't want that to happen again. And we had a jump start with we had a wonderful fall. Then all of a sudden we had our snow and our blizzard and all that kind of thing. And it really brought it to the forefront that we needed to do something about this furnace. So Turn Up the Heat on Literacy. We accept donations online. Folks can call me and ask me more questions about it. We do have a timetable. We want to get them installed before February. And we're praying it'll be sooner if that furnace goes out. But we really are talking to everyone we can in the community about this. The cost for those furnaces is between $24,000 and $30,000 to replace both of them. And they're very necessary. I don't know what else to say about that. We can't teach adults and we can't teach kids without turning up the heat on literacy and replacing the furnaces.
So what's that website where they can go and donate?
It would be www.commonplacepeoria.org. They can email me. They can call me at Commonplace. I'll be happy to talk to anyone about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. So if you want to volunteer, check out their website. There's a lot of different things that you can find on our Facebook page talking about ways to volunteer and get involved. Peoria has such a heart, and
It does.
We've really seen that, and it's really cool to be able to see all the things that people do, but there's always room for more volunteers at the table. So this time of year, especially, is the time to really get motivated and get involved. If you can't do it during Christmas, start next year with a plan to volunteer somewhere and get involved. We are in the neighborhood on WPEO, on YouTube, Facebook, Peoria Life, and a lot of different places. Hopefully you can find us. Send us email, send us a comment on our pages, and we'd love to hear from you. If you know of another organization, we're setting plans for next year. And make sure you tune in to our YouTube page on December 17th for our open table. We'll be broadcasting from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. 5 hours of broadcasting, and we have a lot of friends coming in. You're welcome to stop in and help us trim our tree, put a little ornament on our tree, and and just have a good time. We're here with Pamela Rumba of Commonplace. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, both of you. This is wonderful. We're glad to talk to you.
PeoriaLife.com